Hey there everyone, Dr. Beth Westy here. Sometimes my video does really fun things like this, but what we're gonna do is just shift it to this because it's way easier to see, right? Okay, so today I wanted to pop on and talk about menopause and why it is so dang frustrating for women to lose weight when they start perimenopause, menopause. Now, I'm gonna chat about this and going through this shift in hormone. And it can happen for a lot of different reasons. If this is your phase of life, just happens. There's other women, though, who get thrown into menopause because they have surgery, right? Like, I have had dear friends of mine in a preventative way go through full hysterectomies, mastectomies, all this stuff. And it will just, boom, your body crashes into menopause. Menopause at 36 years old. Yeah. So this is not always the same thing that we're talking about, but it is really important that you kind of take a look at what you're struggling with so that you're focusing on the right things. Now, the biggest thing that I find for women when they go through menopause is this. They try really hard, like you are pushing so much, you are forcing yourself to go to the gym, you are forcing yourself to have good energy, you are being so strict on your diet, and it is getting you absolutely nowhere, and you are completely stuck. Just stuck. And the most common thing I hear from women, and I've heard this, I swear, a handful of times today alone from women that I've chatted with, they say, I feel like I'm trapped in this body that's not mine anymore. Like, I'm doing all these things, and all these things were great before. I was a healthy weight. I was just fine, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, this happens, boom. It just, like, the sky falls. Everything comes crashing down. And you don't recognize your own body because it doesn't respond how it normally does for you, which sucks, which really, really sucks. So in my book, The Female Fat Solution, which is available on Amazon, I do have a whole segment in here dedicated to, it's dedicated to menopause, dedicated to women who are in this phase, right? Because it's not easy, it's not the same. Now, the one thing I will tell you when I talk about nutrition for women and hormones and everything else is that before menopause, you have a different body each week of the month, but just because you go through menopause doesn't mean you don't have any hormone at all anymore, ever, right? Estrogen and progesterone are still produced by other tissues of the body. It's just not on the same level. And from an Eastern medicine standpoint, when you're looking at working with the body, you're looking at working with how it still functions. Now, the biggest key here is that when you go through menopause, you get a new body. Whether or not you like it, whether or not you want it, it shows up for you. And you get to keep it all day, every day. Yeah. So you need to learn how to work with this new body. Otherwise, it's going to keep giving you the runaround. You're going to still feel stuck. You're going to still feel like an alien in your own system, right? And it's going to respond in really different ways. Now, here's a few key things for women to look at. One, your digestive system just changes in menopause. Your digestive system changes, and it's going to slow down. That's really important to know. It's not going to process food the same way. Enzymes change, all this stuff changes. Motility can change. So you may be thinking, ugh, I'm so bloated. Ugh, I just have this tire around my midsection. Why can't I get this off right here? And a lot of it's going to have to do with how well your body is digesting. Now, the other important thing about your digestive system is that your immune system lives in your digestive system, and your belly, your intestines, they're really long. So if you get inflammation in there, it's like inflammation everywhere, inflammation overload. Like if you sprain your ankle gets swollen, not your whole leg. Or your whole leg shouldn't get swollen. Let me rephrase. Your whole leg shouldn't get swollen. But if you get inflammation in your intestines, everything just goes. It's crazy. Which sucks because then that slows it down even more. Great. So everything slows down more. You process food differently. And that leads us to protein upload is different. It's not going to be the same. Thank you, Dickinson. Yay. Protein upload is very, very different when you go through menopause. So for a lot of you ladies that feel like, I eat really healthy, I eat really clean, I don't eat any sugar, I don't eat any garbage. Great. That's super great. But if you're not getting the right amount of protein, it's not going to do the same thing. It takes more protein to do the same job that the protein used to do. So say, and protein is the number one nutrient I find women are missing in their day-to-day nutrition. So say your body needs 100 grams of protein on the regular, right? You have to up-regulate that, and now you're looking at getting at least 120 to do the same job that 100 grams did. Yeah, you need at least 120. Otherwise, you're not even going to come close anymore. And you're going to be like, why am I so tired now? How come I don't have any energy anymore? I'm wearing out. My muscles are starting to go, even though I'm going to the gym and killing myself there. Great. But if you're not fueling for it, you're running around in circles. And again, this is the part where it feels like your body isn't your own, that you're stuck in some alien body, totally stuck. The other thing to keep in mind here, and so when I work with women in my 12-week program, it's a meal plan, grocery list. It goes through protein pacing, carb cycling, all this other stuff. I'm going to be talking more about that. Or if you have questions, more, and you want to know more about how this could help you, I'll put a link below, and you can schedule a call. We can chat. I can help navigate through whatever it is you're struggling with. But this is one of the things that I love working with women on. It is not just about, get this food in at this time. There's a lot of women that don't realize that if you've gone through a stressful, point in your life, your body's going to respond different. The female body responds to stress completely different than the male body. Very important to know. It also gains and loses weight very, very, very differently. Jacqueline. Oh, hi, Jacqueline. You can't wait to start the 12-week. Yay! I know, right? So men and women gain and lose weight very differently as well. And then when your hormones change, guess what? You got to relearn everything all over again for the new body that you have. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's just how it is, right? So it's one of the things like, I get frustrated because it kind of stinks. That's how it goes, right? But, knowing that information, you can approach everything totally different now. Yes. If you've been eating 120 Sheila, it depends. Yeah, it depends. So at least by 20 grams. 20 grams is sort of a threshold for protein muscle synthesis, everything else. So if you're going to bump protein, I usually tell people to bump it by at least 20 grams because then that's a significant enough amount. So you should see a change. That doesn't mean you always will. If you don't, it may not be enough of a change for your body, your stress levels, your exercise, blah, 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 right? I don't, again, we can chat about that. But so at least 20 is an increment. If you're like, oh, look, I ate 10 grams more protein now a day. I'm like, not enough to register. Yes. So, getting back to the stress response. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around. But the stress response is different in women. It's different in women versus men anyway. And then you talk about hormone change and menopause, and it changes even more, meaning your system is that much more sensitive to a stress response. And when I say sensitive to, I mean it's going to turn on the fat storage component like that. Super fast. Really, really easy. Not what you want, right? So when you're thinking, I'm no more stressed now than I was 5 years ago, I guess, yeah, same kind of job, la, 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 la. Well, that stress is going to have a very different response on your body. And this is the thing with the 12-week program that I love helping women sort of navigate around is that, so there's stuff that happens in life and you can't control it. You don't know when it's going to happen. But if you have, the top stressors out there, right? I'm not a psychologist at all, right? I'm a chiropractor. I'm trained as a chiropractor. So I have a very different, viewpoint. I didn't study this, but you can Google it. And it's like the top stressors out there are births, deaths, divorce, moving, getting fired or quitting a job, getting a new job, all those things, right? How many of you can list off at least one of those things in the past 3 years? And then if you've been through menopause or had major hormonal changes, that is going to have that effect impact you even more than somebody else. Oh, thanks, Katie. Yeah, I just got them done. So I do get my lashes done, right? So for those of you that have seen a video of me a year ago, I didn't have lashes. This is the only girly thing I do. The only girly thing I do, because it basically means I don't have to wear mascara. The only problem is that I like to rub my eyes and my face. You're not supposed to rub your face, especially my sister. She's like, "You're getting wrinkles," and I'm saying choice words to her, but she's like, "You're not supposed to touch the skin around your eyes and blah blah blah." She doesn't really talk like that. I'm just making fun of her. So if she's watching this or if she watches the replay, don't tell her. Anyway, so I rub my eyes, and so I usually rub them out at some point. My lash gal, she gets a little frustrated with me, but I'm like, whatever, more appointments for you, lady. Anyway, stress response. See, I'm kind of going all over the place. Stress response for women. The top 5 stressors, right? Births, deaths, divorce, jobs, moving, all that stuff. And then you're looking at other major traumas in your life. You could be working through some past trauma in your history. You could be getting over a bad illness, a big surgery, physical traumas like that. That's a lot for your body to handle. And it's a different tactic of navigating that stressor, that we'll call it just trauma in general, because that's a trauma on your life, on your body, on your system. You have to navigate that differently, especially when you're in perimenopause and menopause. You can't just blow through it without addressing it. If you don't address the stress response, and it's different, and again, I'll just write down here, traumas. So if you've been through something, stress, oh crap, and I'm not a menopause. See, but we can take care of this before you even get there, Katie. Yes. But so any type of trauma, if you're wondering what this is, or if you've got questions on something that you've been through or you're going through or whatever, again, this is where I love to chat with women and just help you navigate around it and say, hey, your body's worn down or it's not responding well, your system is locked down, so you're going to be in a fat storing mode until you turn that off. So it's one of those things of navigating. Are you actually taking care of the stress response first before moving forward? Because your metabolism is not going to move forward. It's not going to start working for you if you're not dealing with that stress response. Yay. Also, fun side note, increased stress, cortisol, all that stuff also decreases digestion, your digestive activity, all that stuff. It's also going to take some of the protein that you eat, turn it into sugar, store it for you. Yay. Right? So which means, again, you still have to get more proteins in to override that so your body's getting the nutrient it needs. Otherwise, it's shutting down. You're losing energy. You're losing muscle tissue. All this great stuff. It's great. So in my 12-week program, I help women navigate this, so that means that it's, the right thing for you. How are you timing your nutrition? How are you adding in your exercise and workout routine without adding more stress as well? Because that's a really important thing. So for some gals, they're really busy, on the go, they own their own business, or they're, they just have a lot of, things where they're, managers in their career or something like that, and they have a lot of productivity, right? So I have to be productive, high energy focused all day long, and I work out and da-da-da-da. And I had a death in the family 2 years ago, and I'm trying to work through that, blah, 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 still. Okay, totally legitimate. And that can be another thing that helps hold you back unless you're dealing with it and addressing it correctly. So even being aware of that now, I feel like can be a helpful thing for women. Now, how to deal with that stress is making sure you're getting enough protein, doing the right things nutritionally, getting adaptogens in, getting enough rest. If your adrenals are shot, you got to really focus on getting those going too. And all of that at the same time, working with your metabolism, getting the right nutrients in, all that stuff, right? It's like a tandem thing. But when you're working on two things together in tandem, then you're actually able to move forward, right? Otherwise, one wheel is just going to spin and the other one's just going to sit there and you're just going to go in circles. Like that analogy, you just go around and you're like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Nope, because that stress response is still happening and keeping you anchored. So that's the biggest thing I find with women going through menopause. And again, menopause for any reason, so frustrating, so tough, but there are ways around it and there are tactics. And this is something that I help women through. Now, the one thing I do want to say is that this doesn't change overnight. A lot of these things didn't come on overnight. It may feel like you woke up one day and you're like, oh my gosh, I gained 7 pounds overnight. Yeah, your body may have had a sudden impact with hormones shifting and stress kind of crashing down at once. But it takes time to reverse this process, fuel your body correctly, and get your metabolism going again. So it's absolutely possible. I do it with women all the time. It's just one of those things like being a little patient with your process, being patient with how things are going, and really doing it correctly so that when you go through this whole system, my favorite thing is like having women go through this and then being able to keep going. You know, they still are able to work on it. They still see progress 6 months later, 9 months later, a year later, still being like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, I'm still going forward. It's pretty awesome. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. Please let me know. Oh, there's a question. Can trauma cause you to lose minerals, or does the body just shut down? Ooh, that is a really good question. It can depend, but typically a lot of times it will change how your body uploads all those nutrients, everything else. And what was the second part of your question? Your body just shut down. It depends on kind of where you're at in that healing process sometimes. And how well things are, moving forward for you. Are you really focused on enough rest? Are you focused on resting at the right times of the day? Sometimes people are like, well, I'd like to stay up late, but I sleep in and blah, blah, blah. Well, there's certain, hormones that activate at different times, day or night. So it's really important that you are sleeping and resting to get certain hormones, activated in your body overnight. Night shift workers, night nurses. I work with a lot of women who work overnights. It's a very different way of navigating the system. Again, that's a whole nother process that I talk about. I should do a whole video on that, actually. I will. I'll do a whole video on that. So stay tuned for that one. Tag your friends who work overnights, because that whole stressor is really big on the body too. Yay, you just bought my book. Hooray! I hope you like it. Let me know what you think and if you have questions as you go through it. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. If you're watching the replay, thank you for tuning in and watching. Share this with somebody that has been super frustrated, because this is one of those things that can be just a bear to deal with. And I'll put that link below if you want to chat with me about more questions you have. And then, of course, I have a YouTube channel with tons of information there. And my podcast, The Female Health Solution, just had an amazing episode drop today from a Facebook friend of mine. So Larissa Lay, so if you have not listened to that, you need to, because some of the information in there will absolutely shock you. Absolutely shock you. All right. I hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you later.